like my process.
I
Hello,
love it.
and thank you for joining us today on Eye Openers. Cheers to those of you still drinking your coffee, whether it's morning or not. No judgment here. Welcome, Aaron, and thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
So, my first question is going to be, what are you drinking? I want to know what's in that stainless steel mug of yours.
I went with the more comedic answer. So I am drinking, although it looks like coffee, this is actually a juice box that I thieved from one of my children.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's not.
I
You
100% guarantee it is.
box, okay?
Oh, yeah.
All right, folks, this is a first here on Eye Openers, the juice box. Is it like a classic, like Capri Sun, or is it one of the more modern, like organic, and there's just
I
some
believe it's
juice
one
and
of the
no
more
dye?
modern ones. I think it's Happy Kids. I don't know.
Happy kids,
It looked delicious and it is.
happy kids, happy adults. It works the same. Okay. Juice. I love it. I am drinking my usual just coffee, but this is from a place up down the street from me called the Daily Grind. I thought that was a really cool name. Daily Grind. Get it? Work, grind, coffee, grind.
All of it. Is it good?
Yes, it's good. I have to be honest, you guys, not my favorite. If I get on here and say every coffee is great, they're going to say, what does this chick know? She knows nothing about coffee. So it's decent. We'll go with that. It's fair. I hate to not say favorable things about people online, but they have amazing food. So if you are local to Santa Barbara, check them out for that. And really good graphics. Like this is like a fun cup that I want to be drinking coffee out of. There's another place down the street that has like these bright pink lids on the coffee, and I just can't do it. I don't know what it is, but it's like the hot pink lid, and I'm bringing it close to my mouth, and I just don't like it.
Hmm.
It doesn't do it for me.
There's always juice. So
I guess I've been missing out on these juice boxes. I never thought to try them. But are you feeling it? Do you feel like the sugar pump of it? Is that what is eye opening about it for you, or no? You just
no,
had
I
to.
saved it until this call.
Okay. Okay. Well, take a sip so we can see what's going to happen there.
I I
Um,
expect good things.
okay. We'll see. Folks, you have it here. It is a juice box first on eye openers. So let's learn more about Aaron here, besides his, preference for the juice box, the Happy Kids juice box. Let's give you a real formal introduction, shall we? Aaron is a prospecting expert that works with B2B service companies. After more than 20 years of leading organizations and helping large corporations, Aaron decided to focus his attention on helping small business owners find more of their dream clients and to simplify business growth, which is through your company, gsimplified.com, which was
Yeah,
where they
growth
can find you.
simplified. Yeah.
Growth Simplified. Yes, sorry about that.
Hmm.
So tell us more, because that's like the official bio. Tell us a little bit about your story, hitting some key milestones there for us.
Uh, Key milestones is, I think, like a lot of us, I started off doing a lot of different things, not having a great plan, and they didn't make any sense until I hit a certain point in my career where I had grown up in a family business and had started a number of companies and worked in corporate, and at some point started doing a lot of work with companies to help them figure out how to run better businesses and how to sell more. And one person told the next, and sort of snowballed. So,
Okay. Tell me about the family business, because family businesses have a real sweet spot for me. I love what most people hate about family businesses.
oh,
What
what is it that you love about that most people hate?
I love the dynamics that are at play from the relationships. It's very complicated, but I look at that as a wonderful challenge to solve. That if we can work through this, there's so much potential there, and there's so much opportunity for the whole family. But we got to get through the muck to get there. A lot of people don't like the muck, but I like
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
it.
That's why you're good at what you do. That's
Uh,
why I don't do what you do.
So what was your role in family business?
It was a lot of different things. But it was a machine shop, and I was mostly a machinist. So
Mhm,
loading
mhm,
parts and machines and making prototypes and stuff like that. So
mhm.
I always enjoyed building things with my hands, and so it fit. So, but
And you
yeah,
move
it was good.
forward.
It was a good business. Sold a number of years ago, but
Great.
amazing upbringing
Yeah.
to learn how to do things.
What was what was something you learned, like beyond the work with your hands, about business or about leadership from that experience? I know I'm going off script here. Sorry,
Oh,
but not.
there's no script. So the thing that I learned in that was our business was 100% word of mouth referrals. So doing first off, doing what you say you'll do when you say you'll do it, and really leaning into what makes it an incredible experience for someone,
Hmm.
right? And knowing that it's not for everyone. So a huge amount of people were not our clients and would never have been good clients, but the people
Hmm.
who liked what we did, like they were all in. And the idea of just having the fortitude to do what is right, regardless of what the prevailing thoughts are, regardless of who's watching, regardless of whether it makes sense on paper or in theory. Like there is a certain level of integrity that happened at that company, and it's something that I've really held on to.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's so amazing how if you are just a person who answers the phone or returns a message or an email, that just simply showing up is half the battle sometimes and gets you half the work. I'm still trying to figure that one out, but luckily I don't really have to work with businesses that aren't doing that because they're not doing well. But yeah, it's like kind of the basics sometimes, but so many valuable lessons are learned on the shop floor, versus in the classroom. And integrity is one of them, big time. It can
Yeah.
take you. Well, so let me start because my listeners are going. She didn't ask the big question. What's she doing? So let me get back on that track. If we were to speak 3 years from now, what would you have accomplished that you'd love to tell me about? What's your big vision?
I think the thing that I hope that I will have come back to you with is one, to have collected a lot of really interesting people that are doing amazing things. The second is I'd love to bring all of the people that we've worked with together and celebrate, because the work that we do is just it's really gratifying to see people thrive. Um, that'd probably be the big one. I don't
Yeah,
know if
bringing them
that maybe
together.
not the right answer you're looking for, but I think that's, if I look forward, having gratitude and having done what I thought I wanted to accomplish would be a big one.
Okay. No, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's simply about what you want to create. So tell me more about that, like bringing them together for an event or for them to learn about each other's businesses and potentially work together. Or what do you envision and why is it meaningful?
Yeah, I think some sort of, I mean, it's hard to think about that right now in the same context, but bringing people together would be great to be able to celebrate what they're doing. Um, I have had this sort of neat journey where I've just worked with a lot of just really incredible people that I really, really enjoy and become great friends with most of them. And it would be fun to see all of them in one place. And it also would be a good representation of how much impact have we had. One of the key things that we're trying to do right now is find out how do we impact more people, because what we do works, but how do we get it in more people's hands and make it so it's more cost effective for more people?
Mm, okay. And what ideas do you guys have around that?
We're looking at ways that we could do group work, and taking and modularizing and turning a lot of what we do into process. But
Mhm.
again, with the integrity, right? It's about how do we do that in a way that has the impact that we want? Because without that, I mean, I'm unwilling to move.
Mm, gosh, I hear you. I am definitely I've been in a similar situation, considering like, gosh, I've got to bring this to the masses. Like, more people need to hear this message, or have this experience of moving past and moving through challenges that have been holding them back. But I feel similarly that in a lot of situations, it's hard to retain that level of value and impact and transformation at a group level. I've run several groups, and I find that it's sometimes a different type of client that signs up for a one-on-one engagement versus a group. But I have to say, recently in the fall, October, I started a CEO group of current and former clients, and we come together once a month, only for an hour. And I offer them laser coaching. Like, if they have a question, they can just ask it and I'll answer it in front of the group, though. And other people can also chime in, like, but they have to get permission first. So it's not just like a full on everyone raising their hand. But I have a format. I bring some really thoughtful questions to the table, and we think about things that we don't normally think about in the course of the day with other peers, and kind of go from there. And it has been the highlight of my month. And it has been a really easy way to bring people together, given the current circumstances, and let them experience each other and let them connect and create relationships outside of me. So that has been really fun, and a new way for me to engage in like a group process without having to make it super formal and not really knowing like where it's going to go and what it's going to turn into. And I'm just kind of loving that energy right now. Like, we get off the call and people like, right, oh, that was so awesome, that was so valuable. Some people are like, you should charge for this, blah, blah, blah. But right now I'm just kind of like sitting with it and letting it percolate and do its thing. So
Yeah, there's something incredible about having a group of like-minded people together and having a similar background, maybe in some of the right ways. Those hot
yeah.
seats are just always everyone gets something out of them.
So true. It's so true. And that's not something everybody understands at first. I found I've had to kind of like educate on that, or just sit in this for an hour and see what you think, and then people
Yeah.
get it, but they don't understand the value right away. Like, why would I get value out of that? But they really do. So I'm excited to go to your future event sometime in the next 3 years with all your clients and me.
Of course.
And see and learn about all these amazing people you've worked with. But that brings me to my next question, right? So that's your big vision, maybe working with people in a greater scale, some kind of group. Maybe I hear like these modules being a course of some sort, or something where you're the thing that you were awesome at, which is B2B service business and operations, maybe being able to deliver some of that without you being in the room. What is the greatest opportunity there? Like, when you look at that, when you think, gosh, that's where I really want to move towards, what's the opportunity you see in all that?
I think it's boy, for me, it's about most companies, even large companies, but in particular medium and small companies, really struggle with how to reliably bring in the right types of clients. Right? A lot of companies have enough clients, or they make enough, but it's not necessarily the right ones. And how to do that is just, it's annoyingly simple, but difficult. And
Mm-hmm.
so the idea of being able to help people, more founders, figure out how to do that much quicker and a lot less pain is, boy, you can do a lot of work with, if you don't have to try and figure out where your next client's coming from.
Mm-hmm. Bingo. Or spend all your profits on trying to bring in that next client.
Right.
So, Aaron, what do you feel comfortable sharing with us about your process that isn't in your cauldron of secrets over here that you'd be willing to share?
There's nothing that I'm unwilling to share, because it's what we do is really straightforward. It's how do we find the straightest possible path to getting our client what they want, right? Or what they need in a lot of cases. So Pumpkin Plan Certified. So Mike Michaelowitz, who has Profit First, is probably his most notable book.
Yeah.
So use that as some of the foundation of the work that we do, right? So you've got his process is very referral and strategic partner focused, but a lot of that is very much in line with the work that we've built, which is how do you figure out what your clients actually need, right? It's the people make assumptions, and those assumptions lead them oftentimes in the wrong direction, and so it also leads to that sort of like blast marking, like everybody we've got to, those emails you get, you're like, oh, there's a special on whatever. And you're like, oh my God, could you just try and actually humanize this at least a little bit? And so we help our clients really create better relationships, right? To show up in a way that's more genuine and that connects with their clients. And then how do you design the process so your clients see what is possible before they buy?
Hmm.
Do you want me to elaborate on anything specific?
Yeah.
Do you say yes?
Yes, go for it.
Okay. So for instance, a lot of people assume that, and correctly, they know what their clients want or why they're buying, and they may do surveys, and they may do some level of a feedback loop, but they don't go out and do like really purposeful interviews with their clients to figure out, like, I want to capture the actual words they use in the context they use,
Mm-hmm.
and ask them questions that don't, because if you say, well, Brittany, do you like what I'm doing? You're gonna be like, yep, even if you don't, right? Because you don't want to be a mean person. You don't want to say something, and especially if we're working together, you don't want to say something that's going to ruin the relationship. So, how do we ask them the questions that sidesteps that and gets us the answer that we need to serve them and our future clients better? And then how do we turn that into an actual sales and marketing process, right? So I think people try and jump into marketing, and I think the right order is actually prospecting. Like, how are you going to prospect for your next client? Because that will drive your strategy, which will include at some point marketing. But
Mm-hmm.
like, people try and put things in the wrong order, and then they get weird results or they get unpredictable results.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so people just think about marketing, just like putting information out there instead of being strategic or thoughtful about where where is my next client going to come from, and either focusing on that platform, so to speak, um, or even really considering what are the words the client uses to describe the issue, the pain point, and the solution. And so it's really all coming from the business's perspective, which is not necessarily the way that the client thinks or speaks about the issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think where people usually start is they start with the tactic, right? We're going to do social media marketing. We're going to do ads. We're going to do networking. We're going to whatever it is. And they don't, and those are all fine, but without a grounded prospecting strategy about like how are we going to have an actual relationship, um you can make it work, but it's really expensive, and you might attract a lot of people that you just would rather not work with. Like, why not get all the clients who like love what you do and really enjoy it and are willing to pay for it, rather than like, well, this is the price we have to charge because that's what our competitors charge. It's like, well, then, no, actually, that's not actually true. It is if you do it that way, but if you take a step back and just say, all right, how do we want to engage our clients? Uh, that oftentimes leads to a whole new possibility.
Why do you think it happens this way? Is it like lack of knowledge, or is it why is it happening this way? Why are so many people not doing it right?
Part of it is that I think there's a lot of incentive for individual experts to 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 push what they know, right? So if all of you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, or maybe it's the reverse, whatever. The point is,
That's it. This came up
like,
yesterday.
I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care. You want to use social media, you want to use video, you want to use Instagram, Twitter. Like, I literally don't care. because it's just a vehicle to have a conversation. Um, and so when you don't care about any of those things, they make no difference. Then all of a sudden, where you go can be open. And the other piece is, I think a lot of times people want like they want the secret tactic. Like, what are you going to like? What exactly could I do? Like, do I just? They want to like a little roadmap, and this is the right way to do it for every single person.
Mhm.
And then, and the other piece of this is that a lot of times what I talk about and what we do with our clients, which is immensely effective, is also not very sexy. Like, it's just, I oftentimes get people saying, "Wait, that's it? Yep, that's literally it. That's you do that, and you will have people lined up the door." Like, well, that's it's kind of cheesy. That's what your clients have told you're the people you love working with. Those are the people that they told you that's how they want you to do it. You can choose to do it or not. Like, I don't care, but that will get you results. So
Yeah.
oftentimes I hear people like, "Well, that's I don't know. That seems really simple." Yeah, simple doesn't break.
Yeah.
Simple works.
Right. Well, it's just like you said, it's simple but not necessarily easy. That's something that I work with a lot, trying to, again, also show people, what could be different about the way that they work with people internally in their business. And it's the same type of solution. You want simple, you want just coming together. We don't need this crazy process, but it's not necessarily easy to do it. You're avoiding it for a reason. Let's get in there into that muck. But simple
Yeah.
is often the best solution.
So why do you think people go down that path? Because you see that too, right? I mean, you work with a whole collection of different types of companies, and
Yeah.
when they're kind of
Yeah.
off of the field a little bit.
I do. I see it. And I think that we want to believe that there is this technology or there is this thing that I don't really fully understand because people smarter than me have built it and put it together. And that's got to be the best because it's the most complicated. So, of course, it's the best. And that is where I think a lot of people get stuck. They get stuck in the solution that they think is the sexiest. And that's what they're seeing and that's what they're looking for. And they are missing what's right under their nose. I've had so many
Yeah.
people tell me that they wanted to do this like whole cold email outreach system, and someone promised them 10,000 emails a week and all this stuff. And I'm like, what are you even going to do with like that many leads? It was a service-based business. Like there's no way they could even manage anything close to that. When I had asked them, well, tell me about your top 5 clients and top 5 like lifetime spend people, in your business. Where did they come from? Where do you think? Word of mouth,
Oh, yeah. It's got
right?
to be. It always is.
It always is in that kind of business and like a service-based, high
Yeah.
ticket, um, because the trust is there. And so why would you take something that has all this trust built into it and then go focus somewhere else where you're a total stranger? It's because,
Yeah.
well, in my experience, it's somebody told them it was good. Somebody like said, well, this is the way to do it, or think about how many people you're going to reach, except that you're not reaching them, you're in their spam folder. And people get that yuck factor when they see that email come through, and then now they definitely don't want to work with you. So I get it. You're not, oftentimes the person who runs the business is not a marketing expert, is not, a business growth expert. They are an expert technician at the thing that their company provides.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's
Well,
okay.
and I would say too that sure, you want to send 10,000 emails. Okay, but if your clients buy because of the experience they have and the relationship that they have, who wants to be at the end of spam emails? Like, who wants to be at the end of, "Hey, I'm just checking in again." Clearly a robot, sent this. And, maybe there's some personality, probably not. And it's really just about themselves. Like, no one wants to. We all have our friends and relatives that only call and reach out when they want something. And that's, I think, how most people look at marketing and sales, is that it's this what can you do for me? And I know it's a nuance game, but like when you stop doing that, no one wants to be in a sales funnel. Like everybody wants a relationship. So you can use technology to facilitate that. There's really, really beautiful technology out there, but like do it in a way that actually represents what your company stands for instead of just shoving content down people's throat. Like, well, we got to do 2 posts a day and we got to do this. And it's like, but what are you putting out? Is it of actual use?
That's a really good point, right? And then I ask people why. Like why that email, why that piece of content, why that thing? And and it's so funny because it gets so lost in their mind. And honestly, I do not blame these entrepreneurs for it. They're being sold
No,
all
of
day
course
long.
not.
Because I know it, because I'm also being sold to all day long, from my LinkedIn to my inbox to my Instagram. Like people are coming at me from all angles. And when you hear about something enough times, like you're naturally curious about it. That makes a lot of sense. But I think that we don't give proper credit to, in this day and age at least, the value of relationship and referral and what that really does for your business.
Well, and lean into what you're already good at, right? That's one of the reasons why our clients have such success is that if you're not a super technologist and you're not deep into social media and that's like not where you live and you've gotten all your clients, why do you think you're going to suddenly change that tomorrow by hiring someone who doesn't know your business and doesn't care? Like leverage what you're already really good at
Mm-hmm.
and just get better at that and do little extensions that sort of maximize the impact of that, and you can creep into other things and apply that same foundational philosophy. That'll get you that gets people much better results.
Well, so in that same vein, let me ask you, tell us about a time when you had this eye-opening kind of moment in your business or a business that you were working with or in, that really changed the way that you see either part of a business process or leadership or whatever, like where it was like, oh, I thought this worked this way, but now I see that is not how it works.
I think the biggest shift for me was when I realized that I can't see what I can't see. Right? It's that blindness to what we think is true but just isn't. It's um and understanding the massive value that I've gotten from having others showing me the things that I cannot see or I don't see or I choose not to see. Those are the worst ones. The ones where like, no, it's actually not the case. And they're like, yeah,
Mm.
actually it is. You might want to look at that. Like, no, it can't. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always the hardest.
Can you give us a specific example of something that happened?
Uh sure. It started when I was doing some group work with a mastermind that I still belong to actually, and a bunch of really, really, really amazing entrepreneurs and people that I love dearly, and they they would point out things that I thought I was doing, like, "Wow, you said that to your kid. It's interesting. Was that about you, or was that actually about your kid?" Like, oh, or that's interesting that you chose to spend your time in your business in this particular way. You're really good over here, but you're not doing that. What aren't you applying that you give advice for that you're not actually doing yourself? I'm like, oh man,
That's the worst one.
cobbler's kids, right? That's so. I don't know that I have any one particular. It's just this over and over reoccurring theme of I know I can't see what I'm blind to. It's
Hmm.
you can't read the label from inside the bottle. And so bringing people into my world that are willing to give me the hard truth, right? I don't need somebody to yes. I want someone who's going to say, well, I don't care if you fire me or I don't care if you don't want to talk to me. Like, I'm just going to tell you. It's been massively valuable.
Hmm. Awesome. Yes.
How about
Yes. We
you?
all could use that. We all could use that. that commitment to the real truth, that that willingness to see what we don't want to see, the willingness to move towards the growth that we need to achieve the next level. So what do you do to stay open to that experience? Because from what I see in my work is not everybody is willing to do that, even though we know that it's incredibly valuable. Each one of us has these blind spots that you're talking about. I openly spoke about it in that CEO group that on Wednesday, that, I'm here and help each one of you guys, yet I still need some of that very same help and insight and perspective myself. So how do you either like stay open to it or keep yourself in that frame of mind? What do you do?
There's a book called Untethered Soul by a guy by the name of Michael Singer. And that was the door opening for me, was that I think it's the first chapter. He talks about the chatty mind. And I know that's not a new concept, but he just, put clothes on this person and have them follow you around and just listen to the insane things they say. And every time you think, I'll do it later, or I shouldn't have to do that, or you get mad about something, just recognize that isn't actually about anyone else but yourself. And so I actually I don't have it right with me right now, but I have a book that I keep where every time I'm triggered by something or someone, it goes in there and I run a series of questions about, like, all right, what is it about me that caused me to be upset about, and project it onto that other person or that other thing. And it's a humbling daily exercise.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But
Especially if you have kids.
it's opened possibility that I didn't have before.
And what is that? What possibility?
I mean, it's the reason why I have a business. It's the reason why I have these incredible clients that we work with. It's the reason why I've got an amazing relationship with my kids and my wife. It's incremental, right? You don't solve everything today. You solve a little bit every day, and you find these little moments. When the pandemic hit, that was actually fun. Not in the sense that the pandemic was fun, but in the when I went on, I know I got to save that. When I went
Okay.
on social media, and you'd see these fights between people and these really diametrically opposed comments, and I would actually go look for the ones that were really triggering, because they ultimately weren't. I mean, most of these people I didn't know, and so it's like, what is about that made me feel that way, and what about me needs to change so I'm not off balance by that. I think your work is very similar in that psychology has a massive amount to do with the success of the businesses that we work with.
Yes. Yeah.
What to do is relatively easy. It's this stuff that gets in the way.
Right. Right. I love that idea of kind of, I guess, radical ownership of
Yeah, it's a great way to put it.
the way that you are showing up and really projecting your stuff onto other people and things, because what it allows for is an internal locus of control to change it. So if the belief is that all these things are happening to me or my business or whatever out there, then, when you're a victim, you need all these external solutions for business growth, for marketing, whatever latest tactic that we think is sexy. It's all out there. But if you can change the story and change the conversation to one in which anything that triggers you or is bothering you, if the first response is to hold up the mirror and say, well, what's my part in this? What's the thing that's happening for me here? And just get curious about that, it changes the way that you go about resolving that issue drastically.
100%.
Yeah. I see this a lot in leadership and work with teams. When there's a lot of employee turnover, there's so much blame because there's so much anger from leadership. Leadership feels like they're working so hard and they're trying these new tactics, trying like this latest incentive or whatever it is.
And to their credit, they are, right?
Yeah, they are. They're trying. That's what they think will work, or that's what they've read about, or
Mhm.
that's why they bought the ping pong table so that the employees are happy. But the irony is that it's often a interpersonal issue that is creating a lot of those challenges. And if leadership could hold up the mirror and say, whoa, like I'm the common denominator here with all of this turnover. What is my role in this? And what's really my responsibility in making it different? And to your earlier point, where am I making assumptions about the employee's experience, what motivates them, what is meaningful to them, what they hate about working here, and what can I change or adjust to improve the situation, right? Like that's all within your control. But if you're so externally focused, none of that makes its way, into your conscious brain, and therefore those problems don't get resolved. They just get turned over.
They just recycle in new forms and shapes, and
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I hope that this conversation has, officially depressed all of you.
No, this is liberation. Are you kidding? This is how you get out of everything.
It's all you, for better or worse. It's all you, man.
It means there's a path forward.
Well, this is the full side of entrepreneurship, and this is why I have this podcast, this show to begin with, to highlight and to spotlight that there are two sides of everything. I feel like there's so many books about motivation and inspiring you to go after your passion and your dream, but like I'm here to tell you the cold hard truth that there's a dark side. There's a dark side to success. There's a dark side to being awesome at what you do, and then it leads to you growing your business, and then it leads to you hiring a team, and sometimes that leads to you wanting to quit your business and run away and go, why did I create this monster? Am I speaking something maybe you've heard before? Yes. So it did, but it doesn't have to be that way. And the first big step, which I'm so glad you brought up, is seeing what am I bringing into this? What's my role in this? How am I projecting my narrative, my story, my beliefs all over the place here? And how can I clean up this mess? So thanks for bringing that out. I don't think that any other guest has ever really talked about it that way, but that is a book that I haven't touched in probably 5 years. That's an incredible, incredible book, The Untethered Soul. I'll make sure that's in the show notes for everybody. Tell me about what you believe to be your biggest weakness right now, and what are you doing about that?
My biggest weakness is around organization of details and perfectionism. So I'll let the details stall me out, which is why I have a team that is better at those things than I am. And the more I've leaned into that, the more I've accepted that, the easier things have gotten. Back to the comment or the conversation prior, right? It's I'm going to do it different by brute force or by will or by this new software. It's like, no, you know what? I'm not. I'm actually not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a situation where I am not central to this all working based on something that I'm weak at. I'm going to bring in other resources that will allow me to do what I'm great at and allow them to do what they're great at. And together that creates a much better result and frankly, a much better experience for our clients.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good point. And thanks for being willing to share that. It is something that is important to me that we talk about, like I said, the full side of all this. But for those of you listening, it's not easy to get up here and share what your challenges are, what a weakness or something you're working on. But it's important that those of you who also identify your own challenges don't just sit there and think, oh, well, I want to be like that guy, Aaron. He has none. He's just got it down. But all of us are facing those in different ways and working through them.
Don't let appearances fool you.
What would you say is that number one behavior that got you to where you are today, but might hold you back, or you might need to change going forward, like as your business grows?
I think it's the thing that I'm changing or working to change right now, which is that I am the work that I'm an expert. I think like a lot of business owners, right? You start off as the expert, and as you grow, I'm learning that I am not necessarily the one who has to do it, nor am I maybe even the best person to do it. My real strength is getting people aligned and moving in the same direction and setting vision and setting holding culture, we'll say, the integrity of what we do. But ultimately, I don't know that I am always the best, even though I'd like to think I am.
I hear that.
Does that make sense?
Totally. I see this all the time because this is the size of business that I work with, where a
Yep.
a technical expert has, branched out on their own, and they are working really hard to gain traction, those initial clients. And they've successfully managed to do that, worked really hard to get there. And now they're growing a team because they have more work than they can handle themselves. But because what got you to that exact point is you did everything, you have to change that. Now, in order to successfully achieve that next level, you have to delegate. You have to hire great people. You have to hire experts at other parts of the business and
And
hand.
allow them to be great. That's
Yes.
the hard part, right? For a lot of business owners.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And it happens at all different levels. I am working with bigger businesses that are getting new CFOs that are, coming with a lot of experience, and they're realizing, oh, wow, I had not been doing a great job as pretending to be the CFO of this $10 million company. And it's making big changes for them. But having, again, being able to hold up that mirror, have the humility to say that, know that, allows you to move into it, make those changes, delegate, give space to somebody else to come in and be the expert and be great at what they do. Ultimately helps everybody, helps the whole business.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Okay. This has been a very fun conversation. And we do similar work, but in different ways. We work with similar types of clients, but very differently. So it's fun to hear your angle and what you're up to. How can people find you if they want to learn more about Growth Simplified, what you're up to personally? How can they reach out to you?
I don't know if you can include links. That would be a good way to
I
do it.
can in the
Otherwise,
show notes after we get off the live.
yeah, the letter G simplified.com is good. Trying to figure out what I'm all about. The about page is pretty good.
Okay, cool. Cool.
I'm fairly active on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
So
if
you
you're
can get
watching
there.
this right now, you're seeing it on LinkedIn Live. So just you can simply click on his name to get his profile. Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure getting to speak with you, Aaron. Thanks for sharing your full side of entrepreneurship, what it's looked like for you, for your clients. I really appreciate your candidness. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Brittany.
And thank you to you guys for joining us for Eye Openers on a weekly basis. I think I'm up to like over 30 shows now, which is fun. I have a super cool surprise coming up this month that we're going to be featured on all your favorite podcast platforms, which is going to be fun. I'm going to include ways for you guys to subscribe to that in the near future. But until next time, have a great week, and I hope you enjoyed some eye-opening moments today with us. See you soon.